So a couple of weeks ago, we tested macOS in a virtual machine on an Intel Mac, my 2019 iMac. So now I figured it would be absolutely appropriate to test it on a Windows machine using VMware Workstation. So that is exactly what we are going to do in this video. Now, what I have done is I actually tried to do this and was successful, and then I accidentally locked the screen and I lost my original take of this video. So the original take of this video is gone, but I will show you what I did in that take to show you, sort of to fill you in a little bit. So I found this guide. I will link all of these things down in the description, and I followed this guide up until here and was successful. I downloaded this unlocker tool, ran into a couple of errors, but it looked like it worked anyway. I downloaded this macOS Catalina ISO image, which I will also link, and I downloaded VMware Workstation Pro 25H2. So that is what I did before the before OBS crashed, and so we already have a virtual machine on here, and I will show you where it is. So basically, this machine has so little internal storage on its boot drive that I'm putting everything on secondary hard drives. So the virtual machine is going onto the virtual machines folder in here, and we can see this is kind of a mess. I didn't even realize how much of a mess this was. I'm not even going to really look in this folder all that much, but that is sort of where this is going. And then I put all the applications and stuff on this Toshiba drive, and what I realized is that I installed VMware. When I installed VMware, all of the DLLs just went loose in this folder, which I'm worried is going to interfere with other programs, but I'm sure I can move it somehow. But again, this machine just has so little internal storage, which is fine because I built it completely out of spare parts. This 128 gigabyte SSD was a spare part that I just threw in there. It was the SSD that I had that I'm now using as a boot drive, and it works perfectly fine. It's just small, so you can't really fit all that much on. So I was able to get this to successfully boot. It was very interesting because the display, we can enlarge this, and it looks like the display is being enlarged. In reality, though, the display only stretches to where really about halfway between, let's see, how do I release the mouse? Control Alt. It really stretches only to about here and here and here and here. So it's a super small window, as you'll see. But the ISO image is actually on this Toshiba drive, which is just a mess. But I don't really care because I never really browse this Toshiba drive all that much. The one that's organized is this one that has all my videos on it. So we can see this booting up, and I'll just show you what it looks like. Whoa. But it is helpful sometimes to just enlarge it, just because it makes it the focus of the display to some degree. Yeah, so we can see here where the cursor is where the edge of the display is. So it really is this tiny little square here, which you'll see very clearly when the system is done booting. Let me just check this guide just to make sure. Oh, so it's literally just do the VMware tools after the installation. Now there was a button when I did this in the previous take. There was a button that said on the bottom that said, when you're done installing, click this button that says I'm done installing. And there's a button on the right, bottom right, that said I'm done installing, and that button is now gone. So I hope that we can still finish this process. It looked like something with the VMware patch. Oh, there it is. VMware tools, blah blah blah. So we need to install the tools. We'll install the tools when we actually have a working installation. this isn't the thing that came up. It was like, when you're done installing, click this button. It says I'm done installing. It probably had something to do with the tools. But we can see how small this display is. It's super small. And in the previous take, I already formatted the hard drive. What I basically, where the take ended was where I hit the Windows key and L, because that's the Windows key on a Windows keyboard corresponds to the command key on a Mac usually. And so I was trying to get the installer log open, and so it ended up just locking the screen and I lost the video. So that was a rookie mistake on my part. But we should still be able to, and I just ended up canceling the installation, but we should just be able to do this and actually open the installer log just by going up to the menu bar and clicking open installer log. And this is super small. I wish there was a way to make it bigger. Can you make it bigger? What does this button do? Free stretch. Oh, whoa. I think this literally solved my problem. That is like so not a 16:9 aspect ratio, but wow. Oh, we can also keep the aspect ratio. Let's try this. Just so that we can literally just make this bigger. Yeah, there we go. I'm fine keeping the aspect ratio, at least until we have the tools. But it looks like, I don't know, this is just going to probably be a normal macOS installation process. Probably going to just take a while. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, remember in the previous video with the iMac, we couldn't even get Sequoia to boot because it just kept messing it up. And it was just like the network settings were just, it was really weird. If you want to go back and look at that video, I'll link it. But it was weird. Anyway, so we couldn't even really boot into Sequoia without a kernel panicking. So I'm hoping that we can, get Catalina installed and then try to upgrade it directly to Tahoe. Because the problem is what I did with the macOS, with the iMac, is that we had Mojave and we couldn't directly upgrade it to Tahoe. So I think this, if we're going to try Tahoe, I think what I may do just to be safe is like duplicate this virtual machine. Is that something you can do? Can you duplicate a virtual machine? There's got to be a way to just literally duplicate it. I'm not seeing a button here, but or literally just duplicate the actual file within the thing here, because I have so much storage on this RAID volume. I'm not worried about it. It's just that all these files are just everywhere. I may try to, once this is done, see if it either consolidates automatically or I'll just make a folder for this, because I don't know what this is doing. It seems like everything is sort of a mess. But yeah, this is what's happening. So I'm going to pause this. It looks like this is just rebooted. And then when this is done and we're sort of on a setup screen, then I can resume the video and we can look at how to proceed. Alright, so it looks as though we are booting into the operating system after what is hopefully a successful installation. So we'll just give this a minute and boot up. Now what I did notice is it is actually creating virtual memory on the hard drive rather than on the using actual memory of the computer, which is very interesting. You can see we're not really using all that much memory. It's really interesting. So yeah, and I can show you just while this is booting up the virtual memory file, which is this thing, VMem. I can only imagine that means virtual memory, 16 gigabytes, which is how much we assigned to the virtual machine. So anyway, I just thought that was very interesting. Oh, and we have a cursor, so this must be almost all the way booted up. We will check that out. All right, we are in good shape, hopefully. We've got a cursor and a black screen. Whenever we shake the cursor, it does do that macOS thing where it makes it bigger. I kind of wish that existed in Windows. Maybe there's some way to do that in Windows. But yep, this is going kind of slow. Okay, I made the mistake of doing Afghanistan last time. Usually it'll default to the United States. Man, this mouse scrolling speed is super slow compared to on the actual Windows machine, and the tracking speed is super fast. It's very interesting. Local network, that is indeed right. Wait, no. Ah, yeah, this is where we have the problem. I'll just say this and we can figure out. I can't remember how to connect the virtual machine to the internet, or how I even did that last time. Because I know I was able to download stuff within the operating system, but I can't remember how I was able to connect it to the internet. Okay, great, I agree. Let's name this test here and make the password 1234. So there we go. Creating the account. Now what I read is that you cannot pass through a GPU. I thought you were able to do that. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do that anyway because I don't have a macOS compatible GPU. Actually, this NVIDIA card is not compatible with macOS, nor is the Radeon R7 250 that I have. Neither of them work. The R7 250 is a weird card because it's like it's one of the only cards of that era that doesn't work in macOS. I tried it when I had my 5.1 Mac Pro, and it showed 0 display. It was really weird. Even when it booted up, it showed no display. Okay, here we go. We're probably not going to have any graphics acceleration, but that's okay. What I really just want to try to do is upgrade this to Tahoe. But first I want to see, first we need the tools, and then we need to be able to connect this to the internet. So, we have no graphics. We can go to About This Mac. Oh, come on. Alright. The RAM speed is totally wrong. We have, no graphics. But we do have plenty of storage to work with. Okay. So, install tools. Oh, are you kidding me? Okay. Download it from this link. All right, let's go to this link. Install VMware tools for a macOS guest. Well, since we hacked, this was actually a hack, because I had to do this. I had to run this unlocker patch. Oh, man. Install VMware tools when prompted. Wow, so are we literally not going to be able to get the tools? Install tools. Oh, wait. That's funny. Okay. I'll just name this VMware tools. Okay, so now we need to mount. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me just try to follow this. See, this isn't auto mounting. Let me look in disk utility. Okay, so the problem is I cannot hit Command L, because Command L will lock the screen on the actual PC. I learned that the hard way. Okay, so maybe I need to download the tools from within the operating system. Yeah, I see no VMware tools. Okay. So possibly what we need to do is mount this ISO within the thing, within the virtual machine. Okay. How might we do that? Okay, so we need to ditch this. It's so funny it shows up as a CD. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is do this. And then we're going to go to our settings, and we are going to plug in the VMware tools. And lo and behold, it doesn't show up. That's great. Wow. Yeah, because this is like auto mounting. So I wonder if you just have to, let's check out the Windows guide just to see. I think we are just not going to be able to get the VMware tools. That is not great, is it? Because we've mounted that CD. Let me try restarting. Actually, let me shut it down. We can let's just check this out. As soon as this is done shutting down, whenever that is, I will look to see. Oh, come on. Shut down virtual machine. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Okay, so edit virtual machine settings, VMware tools.iso, connect that power on. So maybe I just needed to restart it. Let's see what happens. I'm just going to do this because I don't know what the deal is with that message. This is a lot more complicated than I thought it would be, isn't it? So let's just wait for this to boot, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so we have our operating system booted up. Let's log this in and see whether or not the tool's mounted. If the tools don't mount, I'm just not going to worry about it. If they do, that would be great. Ooh, all right. Can we install them, though, is the question. Install VMware tools. So the most annoying thing is this default setting to show recent applications in the dock. And I always like to disable that and also change this to the scale effect. Look at the GD effect. It just takes too long. Look at this, the scale effect, just boom. I far prefer the scale effect over the Gini effect, and that's something that I didn't learn about until about 5 years ago. Well, yeah, that makes sense. All right, here we go. System extension blocked. Oh, goody. Okay. Allow. Great. It's probably going to do that again. Probably don't need feedback assistant, do we? Registering updating components. All right, it's almost done. Let me check. I want to check the displays. I just want to see, can we change the resolution? Nope. Even when holding option. Yeah, that's the same problem we had on our Intel Mac. So where am I going here? Just to see. Come on, register those updated components. You can do it. It's not going to take that long, hopefully. All right, so we have the VMware tools installed. I doubt this is going to give us any sort of graphics acceleration, but it may give us the ability to, it just may feel faster. I don't know what the VMware tools are exactly going to do for us, but it may help in the case of macOS Tahoe, and it probably, hopefully, will help us be able to connect to the internet. So, because that's what I'm really concerned about, is being able to connect to the internet. in order to be able to download all of these required files. So let's give this a minute to boot up, and when we are in the operating system, we can see how to proceed. Alright, so here we are in the OS, still no acceleration, but hopefully this gives us, I'm curious what this is going to give us in terms of sort of usability of the system here. So, come on, this is going really slow. This is like my iMac at the dorm. This is super slow. Okay, can we change the display? No. The bigger question is, do we have internet? So, I am going to open a web browser. Actually, hold on. I am just going to do software update. Unable to check for update because you are not connected to the internet. Oh gosh, okay. I totally can't remember how I got the other one connected to the internet. Internet. Wow. Where can we change anything related to the internet? Network adapter. Used to share the host's IP address. Okay, so that's not what we want to do. Connected directly to the physical network. Will this work? Or will it? I remember this crashed our virtual machine last time. First, let's actually go into our network settings and just check. Ethernet. Connected. Has no IP address. Oh, wait, there was an IP address that just showed up. So is this going to go directly? Your Mac is up to date. Well, I want to download macOS Tahoe, for crying out loud. Okay, so we need, first of all, let me check inside terminal, because I remember on a real Mac, and running this virtual machine sort of on that iMac, we could not download Tahoe using the software update command. But since the host is a PC, I'm really curious to see this. Okay, so software update -- list full installers. Now it says updates are available. Are you kidding me? Okay, so what are those updates? Let me just look. Software update. Unable, because my Mac is not connected to the internet. Look. It is connected to the internet. Watch. Let's see if I can load YouTube. I mean, it's super slow, and I don't know what the heck that search icon is, but yes, we can load web pages. So yes, I am connected to the internet. Give me a break. And now it says updates for this Mac are managed externally. That's weird. Okay. Is that command really only available on software update? List full installers. We need to go software. Oh, we can't list full installers in Catalina, can we? Software update -- list or -L. Let's see if this works, because this will at least show us hopefully what updates are actually available, because it said updates available, so I don't know what that actually means if we can't connect to the internet, supposedly. It's just 10.15.7. Okay, so we actually can't download a Tahoe installer. So I'm going to go, Mr. Macintosh is going to save the day, hopefully, with his Tahoe installers. So actually, let's see, I'm going to try Tahoe first, and if Tahoe just refuses to work, then I will try, I'm going to try 26. I'll try 26.01, just to be sure. And I really hope this. Yeah, we're sort of speeding up our download here. We can see via Activity Monitor what the download speed actually is, which is very useful. And I suppose we could even see in Task Manager too. I'm just curious to see if the Network tab shows anything. If we go to Data, whether or not, yeah, 46.6 megabytes per second it's downloading. I want to see what Task Manager in the PC reports. Receiving at 298 megabits per second. It went all the way up to like 495. Yeah. Interesting. So we are getting our full 500 megabits per second download speed on our internet in the virtual machine, which is really great. And so this shouldn't take that long. So I'm going to wait until this is done downloading, and when this is done downloading, I will resume the screen capture and we can see what we need to do. Alright, so we are literally seconds away from having this installer, so I'm really curious whether or not that's going to work, because I remember in the other video that I did on the iMac, it said the Tahoe installer would require Catalina in order to be able to upgrade. So I'm curious whether or not it's even going to work, or whether it's just going to throw an error saying that it's incompatible. But we're going to check this out here. This is the farthest we've gotten so far. I'm going to keep this page open just in case I need to try a Sequoia installer. Install macOS Tahoe does not have an X through it, so it may work. Wow, okay. Alright, off we go. Let's open the installer log, and I'm not going to hit Command L, because the Command key corresponds to the Windows key, and of course Windows L locks the screen on the actual PC, so I have to do this. Show all logs. It's still pretty slow, even with the VMware tools. Failed to find incompatible apps list. Well, it's probably because I'm doing this in a virtual machine on a Windows computer. Okay, so I am going to let this install. Hopefully it'll work. If it doesn't work, either way I will come back to you with a result. Alright, so I just came back. I was away for a while. Came back to a prohibited sign. So I think what I'm going to do is shut this down, and I want to check. Let's see. macOS 26. What if we just change the version? I mean, I doubt that's going to fix anything, but let's just see. I mean, we're getting somewhere. Now, I don't know where exactly the prohibited sign started, because I wasn't there to watch it. So I don't know if we will actually be able to boot. I know what happened on the iMac, if you go watch that video, is that it just started a kernel panic sort of either in the middle of the boot process or sort of right after it booted, and right after I logged in, Windows Server would always crash. So I'm hoping that this boots. I'm just going to keep the screen capture rolling because I just want to see what is going to happen. Now, the other thing that I did change was the processor cores, because I realized there were only 2 processor cores allotted to the virtual machine, and it was just going super slow. So I allotted all 8 cores of the CPU to the VM. Really, this is where I think it would be really interesting to try the VMware vSphere There's our prohibited sign. It would be really interesting to try the VMware vSphere, because number one, that's now made free, at least as of a couple of years ago, and I think it is still free, without the support from Broadcom or anything like that. But that would be really interesting to try on a server, and have like a 32 core system. Now I don't have any of that stuff. I have two servers. One of the servers is pretty much taken all the way apart. That's my HP ProLand. It has no RAM, no CPUs, no hard drives. And so it's pretty much just the motherboard in there and the power supplies. And then my Dell PowerEdge, that thing it's just a mess. I mean, it's been a mess from the start. I got it about 4 years ago. It's been a mess from the start. I've never been able to use it. It's just, that server is just a mess in every way possible. I took out the RAM of that machine and put it in this Z420 when I got this Z420 a couple years ago. So the Dell PowerEdge has no RAM. It does have CPUs in it though, but yeah, no RAM in the Dell PowerEdge. So I don't really have servers that are in good working order anymore. I think what would be interesting to try, I think eventually I'd like to do servers again, and build a server, but it is definitely not going to be sort of a Dell or an HP or any of that, because those are just a mess. I would rather just build a system. I think what I was going to actually look at, this is sort of totally unrelated to anything. I'm going to shut this host down. I'm going to power it off. So yeah, Tahoe doesn't work. I mean, how am I shocked? Sequoia had all those problems, so obviously Tahoe's not going to work. So I'm actually going to delete this. I want to get rid of this. I want to delete it. I want to... Oh, it will not delete the virtual machine from the disk. Okay, so then maybe I can go into our folder and delete it. I'll just get rid of the whole folder, because what the heck? It's like that virtual machine is completely inoperable now. I wonder how big it is. 63 gigabytes. Yeah, so this is gone. Okay, well, I'm glad we were able to test that, and I'm glad we found that out. Now, what I do want to look at, just very quickly, is I want to show you sort of what my plan was. Well, this was part of my plan. And then whoa, Amazon, come on. Rosewill makes rack mount cases. And they're one of the only brands that makes sort of like relatively cheap. I mean, I shouldn't say cheap, they're $100. But, I mean, they're relatively inexpensive cases. And so we have a 2U, you can throw in an ATX motherboard. It has space for 4 hard drives, well, 6 hard drives really. And there are different options that you can choose. I mean, like $140 for a thing, because that sale's about to end. Like $140 for a case is a lot of money, but it is a rack mountable case, and it has these fans, and they're big giant fans. They're 80 millimeter fans. They're not those tiny little server fans that spin at 20,000 RPM. So this is something that I'm very interested in. What I definitely wanted to do is maybe even build 2 systems, two identical looking systems, but one would have like an LGA 2011 socket or something, just a super cheap motherboard and CPU. I can take parts out of the Z420, because I really think the Z420 is probably only going to last about another 1.5 to 2 years realistically. So when this is decommissioned, I'm planning to just sort of build a new system out of one of these, and then another system where I can just take parts out of that Z420, and then have a system that is basically just an LGA 2011 server. I think that would be really, really kind of cool. Or I could keep the Z420 intact and just use the Z420 as a server. That's another option. But I'm also looking at racks. I mean, this is probably not the best way to go for a rack. I'm sure there are far cheaper ways to do this. But I mean, this would be at least a couple $1,000 to do this. But definitely something interesting to do, and something that I've always had the goal of doing. I have a rack mount power strip. I have a rack mount Ethernet switch. I have a rack mount. I used to have a rack mount audio interface. I don't anymore because it broke. And so I've got a number of different rack mount stuff. I probably don't need an 18U, but anyway, something that I'm looking at, that I'm sort of exploring, sort of a couple years in advance, so I can kind of plan it out. That's how I did with the Z420. I was looking at Z420s and Z620s in like 2022 and 23, and I was like, because I was like, I'm not going to buy one yet, because I didn't really need one at that time. And then when the need came, then I bought it. So I think this is probably going to be a similar situation when the need comes, probably in about 2 years, that I will do that. And so anyway, that's sort of my plan in terms of that. Now, it's a shame Tahoe didn't work in a virtual machine, but it would be interesting to just deploy a server, which is why I was showing you those rack cases with the VMware vSphere. That would be really, really cool to try. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. I hope this video created value for you. I think this is going to be a lot shorter than the other video, which is good. The other video is like an hour and 45 minutes long, so this one should be a lot shorter than that. So anyway, thanks for watching, and keep your eyes peeled for some other videos that I could make, hopefully. So anyway, with that, thanks for watching this video.